Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Deborah Smith. I am the owner of DD Logistics, a women-owned small business, government contracting business. And I am getting over the worst strep throat I have ever had. But today, I'm going to ask that you be patient with me because I'm doing a training and something happened to me with SAM.gov that tried to wipe me out. I had to troubleshoot this problem for over 6 to 7 weeks to get back active in SAM.gov. It was a lot of processing documents, it was a lot of talking to the Federal Service Desk. There was a lot that I had to go through that I don't want you to go through. So, what happened was, at some point, I don't know when, SAM.gov decided to add a two-step verification process to your login on SAM.gov. And that threw me for a whirlwind. When it was time for me to recertify, when you first apply with SAM.gov, what happens is you will have to go into SAM.gov, register, and your entity is only good for 1 year. So every year after that, on the date that you submitted your SAM.gov registration, you have to go back in and update that registration. And it's a good time to do it because if you want to change your address or banking information, that's the time that you can do it. And when it was time for me to do that, a two-step authentication factor came about that I had no access to on the other end of the spectrum. It was causing multiple amounts of confusion because without SAM.gov, one, I can't bid federally, and that is a big no-no. Two, I have never ran into this issue before. Three, now I need to figure out a solution to how I can get this done and get back active in SAM.gov. The only way for me to do that was to delete my account. And that account had been open since 2022. And I would have to go back in and re-register all my information. To sign up in SAM.gov is a very tedious process. There's a lot of information you have to add. So I was on this, the cusp, 50-50. Do I want to delete my account and start all over again? Or do I want to try to troubleshoot this and figure it out? So I decided to delete my account. Once I deleted my account, I then reached out to the Federal Service Desk, and this is the information that I got to move forward in order for me to get my SAM.gov registration back active. If this happens to you, this is the training that you need to see. I'm going to give you a step-by-step breakdown on how to never bang your head against the wall with a two-step verification because I don't know where this came from. I don't know when this started. And when it was time to do the two-step authentication, I was at a brick wall. Brick wall. I couldn't figure it out. 6 weeks later, here I am. Got it done. Moving forward. Okay, so here's where I'm going to start. The Federal Service Help Desk runs SAM.gov, System for Award Management. They are the ones that can help you. And I'm just going to share my screen. All right, so we'll go here. FSD.gov. And I hope you can hear me okay because I really am recovering from being sick and my throat is still kind of sore. So I wanted to make sure I have my mic on so that you can hear me clearly. Now, I took some notes because honestly, I don't ever want you to have to go through this. Okay. I pray that you never do. Having access to your SAM.gov registration is extremely important. You cannot bid on federal government contracts without it. If you ever come about on a situation where you lose access and cannot log in to your SAM.gov account because of two-step verification, this training video is for you and it is worth every dime. This took me 6 to 7 weeks to troubleshoot to get to this point that I'm at now, to get SAM.gov to accept and activate my account again. Like I said, I don't know when the two-step authentication process started or how mobile devices or laptops got away from me that couldn't connect to the fact that I needed approval. Okay? First thing you're going to do, FSD.gov. That is what FSD means. They are connected to SAM.gov. They are the customer support team. You're going to go ahead and you're going to sign in. Okay? A lot of the times it's going to look like SAM.gov. This is what you're going to see. It said it is login.gov. So I'm going to submit and I'm going to sign in. Now, going to ask me to agree and continue, kind of go from there. But you want to be signed in so that they can create you an incident number and everything can be tracked. So make sure you're signed in. If you do not have an account with FSD.gov, you need one. You need an account with FSD.gov in order for this incident to be created, for everything to be tracked properly. Once you create an account, okay, you're going to go here. Now, the very first thing that you're going to do is, if you're logged out of your SAM.gov account, you want to know, how can I become the administrator for my non-federal entity registration? That's where you're going to start. In this search bar, you are going to type K, B as in Bravo, 0016652. The first thing you're going to see is, how can I become the administrator for my non-federal entity registration? That's your first bet. When you see this, please remember this number, okay? And come back to this training as many times as you need to. Once you make the purchase, you have lifetime access. You are going to need this information. This number right here is the first step, okay? And you can search it here. Now, if you are the person who registered in SAM.gov and you are the owner of the company, or you are a partner of the company, you can, an officer or a board member, you can send the Federal Service Desk a request to become an administrator for your entity registration. Okay, so you need an EAAL, which is an Entity Administrator Appointment Letter, to gain access as an entity administrator for SAM.gov. That is for you to get back into your account properly, to go in and make updates to an entity and be able to actively bid in SAM.gov. Number one, you have, in my situation, maybe not in yours, but in this situation, number 3 is the correct choice. The reason why we need this is because the access to the administrator account has been lost. I told you I lost the 2-step verification and I struggled to get back into my account. So 3 is the best choice for me. Okay. There is a list of instructions that you have to follow. Before submitting your letter, check with your organization to see if your entity already has an administrator. If you do, that person can take over this step of the process. If it does, the existing administrator, which is you, can assign to the role, which is much faster and simpler. Okay. If you manage entity registrations as a service, you may not request or receive an administrator role. You can still provide the service, but you must use the data entry role to do so. That did not apply to me. You're going to choose the letter template you need. Select the letter template that best matches your situation. For me, it was number 1 because I am a single entity with a US bank account, and I knew from this information that my document had to be notarized. I knew that right off jump. And Federal Service Desk is super helpful. Okay, super helpful. Number 2 didn't apply to me because I don't have multiple entities open on SAM.gov. An international entity, that did not apply to me either. So there was a template that was put in place. Now, I wish that it was under a PDF. Unfortunately, it is in Word form. It is very clear when you click on the template. Before I even click on it, I'm going to show you down here. Excuse me. Complete the template. Once you download your template, follow these steps. You have to complete all the fields in the template to complete your letter. You have to print it on a letterhead. If you don't have a letterhead, then you can put your entity's legal business name and physical address at the top of the letter. Then it states that if required, someone with signatory authority who can make commitments on behalf of your entity, if it is not you, must take the complete letterhead to a notary and sign the letterhead in the notary's presence. Then it states, if required, someone with signatory authority who can make commitments on behalf of your entity must take the completed letter to a notary. So it has to be notarized. Okay. Somewhere in here, and I need to find it, it states that you cannot tamper with this. Somewhere in here. Now, this is the document that they give you. Okay. This needs to be copy and pasted. You need to add print letter on entity letterhead. Mine was returned because it was not on an entity letterhead. That was the first go around. FSD, that's why you need to sign in. Make sure you have an account, because if you do, then you can track the steps that are happening every single day that are going on until you get to a successful outcome. Copy and paste it to a Word document. You're going to fill in all of that information that you saw. That's step number 1. Okay. Now, and it's giving you a lot of information. If you, as a new entity, if you need to create a new SAM.gov account, there's a whole nother tab for that. This is not that training. Submit your letter to Federal Service Desk. There is a drop-down menu. Sign in. So you're going to have to sign in regardless. Okay. But a lot of people just want that information in the search tab. You're still going to have to create an account. And a lot of people who have a SAM.gov account, they also have an FSD account because it's pretty similar. Like I said, FSD is customer support for SAM. And it's telling you right here, submitting your letter. Okay, this is how you're going to do this. You're going to scan your letter if you have a copier. Usually a lot of copiers have the scan feature. You're going to sign into FSD.gov with the same login.gov account you used to sign into SAM. Scroll to the bottom of the page and select Create an Incident. Okay, once you select Create an Incident, and let's do this together. So we're back on the Federal Service Desk, and what we're going to do is follow the instructions that they gave us on the previous page. And I'm going to do that for you live to show you what they're asking. They want you to scroll down to the bottom of the page and select Create an Incident. So we're going to do that together. We're going to scroll all the way down. Bottom of the page, Create an Incident. It's asking you here in the system name field, select SAM. That way the Federal Service Desk knows what you are referring to. It's also going to ask you under the issue type in the field, select role management, issue type 2, entity administration appointment letter. That way they know. So you're going to go under issue type, role management, and then issue type 2. Nope, that's not right. Entity administrator appointment letter. Okay. Now let's follow the rest of the instructions. Complete the remaining fields. Fields marked. All of the fields are optional. And then you're going to select add attachment. Okay, so you can fill out whatever else you want. When you're seeing unique entity ID, that is the UEI I spoke of on SAM.gov that you need to register with. That UEI is very important. Okay, it needs to match. It's a 12-digit number, and whatever's on SAM.gov needs to match here. All right, you put the subject in there, describe your issue, and then all the way at the bottom, what you're going to do is you're going to add the attachment. The attachment is your letter. That's how they're going to get your letter. Okay. After you add the attachment and you get your letter to FSD, the Federal Service Desk, they're going to create you an incident number, letting you know that your letter has been approved, accepted, or denied. If it is denied, here's what you're going to do. Now, I had one round of this, okay? And in this training, I have to explain this. The first round, it didn't go through. And I will show you. So this was an email that was sent to me once. It was about 48 hours after I sent in the letter. They sent me an email letting me know why the letter was rejected. They tell me, thank you for reaching out. We got your letter. You know, the following items are a part of the template requirements and must be included in your notarized letter. So they were very responsive, which I love. I love when you go through a troubleshoot and you're working with support and they're helpful. That I really enjoy that, because a lot of the times when you deal with customer support, it is so tough to really get someone to reach out within a 24 to 48 hour time span. So basically they explained to me the company organization, and these are mistakes that I have made. That's why I'm sharing this training with you. This was an absolute headache for me to get back into SAM.gov. I do not want you to have to go through this. Okay, this whole entire training is based off of experience. The letter must be on a company organization letterhead, signed by authorized signature authority, your UEI number. When I went back and I looked at my letter, I missed a digit. It was only 11 numbers. A UEI number is 12. Small mistakes. The legal business name, company physical address, entity. When I went back and looked in SAM.gov, when you put Ave, Street, Place, Circle, my address had street, but the S and the T were both capital. When I submitted the letter, my S and my T for street were lowercase. That's how sensitive this letter is. All the information has to match because they want to know that you know that they know that this SAM.gov account belongs to you. Okay? After updating your notarized letter, now you have to go back and resubmit it. But all the dates have to change. You have to go back to the notary. They have to sign it again. So following directions the first time is a great idea. Everybody makes mistakes. It is what it is. But now I had to go back to the bank, talk to my notary again, have her sign off again, and then move forward. And she was very helpful, very loving, caring as usual. But it was just a headache. One more thing to add to the list of troubleshooting nightmare. The letter included the designation of entity administrator paragraph. However, the name and or the title of the below signed signatory is missing because I was tampering with the document. I was deleting things, and nothing should have been deleted. The document should have never been touched. The only thing that should have been touched is what said insert here. If it said insert here, that's the only thing that should have been touched. Right here. Where you see insert, insert, all of this can be edited. But some other things were getting deleted and it was not good. So we'll drop that back down. And we'll go back here. So they were just reaching out to me to let me know, like, hey, this is not right. Please check your letter to be sure the UEI is present and meets the following criteria of 12 characters. 12. At some point in my brain, I got overanalyzed or overstimulated, and I only put 11. Okay, it is a very unique ID. One letter was missing. Right away, they're like, hey, this can't be your account. You're missing a letter, or you're missing a number from your UEI number. Automatically, they're like, oh, this has to be fixed. So that was another thing. And then they just updated me, or they were like, hey, in the event of a notarized letter should be corrected, all those dates have to change and all the notary stamps have to change as well. You have to go back and revisit notary and then give us the information. And then here was the incident number. That's why you need to log in, because the incident number matters. That is how you are being tracked on everything you do, because you don't want to lose focus on this. It's already aggravating enough to be kicked out of SAM.gov and then have to try to re-access the platform is a struggle. It's a struggle, okay? And this training is extremely helpful. This training is based off of experience. I do not gatekeep, but this was a hard pill to swallow, because when it was time to update my SAM.gov registration, I ran into a brick wall. I don't know when the two-step authentication process started. It's just a secondary password. But all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, SAM.gov started asking for a two-step authentication process, and I was banging my head against the wall for almost 6 weeks. It took me almost 3 weeks to figure out if I really wanted to delete my account or what I was going to do. In the end, I decided to delete my account. But then I started to panic and I reached out to FSD and I said, hey, I deleted my SAM.gov account. Is there a way that I can regain access to this account without having to reapply, submit all these documents over again, take 3 hours, 4 hours, maybe even days out of my life to get this account opened again? Or can I just go back and figure out a way to obtain all my information again? The lady at FSD was very helpful. She said, Deborah, you can regain access. Boom, boom, boom. Here are the steps. Everything that I just shared with you are the steps that she gave me. So now I am no longer banging my head against the wall, and I also don't want that for you. So I'm sharing this training with you. I hope that it is helpful. I hope you don't find yourself in this situation, but if you do, please refer back to this training. Please refer back to this training. You don't want to lose access to SAM.gov. There are big federal bids on there that can change your life. You can hit a bid at any point in time, and you know that. If you don't know that, I'm telling you that. Your life can change at any moment on any bid. Every year, they're going to ask you for an update. This year was a little different. It proposed some different challenges for me, and I want to help you through them in an inspiring, educated, cool, calm, and collective way because that's genuinely who I am. I don't want to have to see you go through this. If this training was helpful, please leave a comment. Okay, reach out to me, ddlogistics@gmail.com. If you cannot figure out how to get the letter correct, reach out to me. If you cannot move forward and regain access to your SAM.gov registration, please reach out to me. All right. I am wishing you the best. I am hoping that whatever the situation was for you, it works out. All right. Please do not forget to live, laugh, bid. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.